Live from the Export Beer Garden Studios, this is the agenda for Tuesday, the 13th of February.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
I haven't slept since last night. That's why I felt like it was a Monday still.
Yeah. You guys really kicked on after Super Bowl Monday because
Yes.
I left the event for various reasons, and came back and then left again. But as I left, you guys here, we're not far behind, but obviously not.
Yeah, well, we weren't far behind at that time, but then we got waylaid at another bar. We went to Danny Doolan's on a Monday night. Webmaster Joe Jury, who's pulling the curtains up behind me as we speak.
Does Danny Doolan's have TVs that work?
They did. They had a band as well, great band. And Joe didn't get let in. They made us, and I haven't seen this move in real life before, but the bouncer was making us stand on one leg.
What?
And like hop around and stuff. I think he just wanted to humiliate us. But evidently Joe couldn't do it well enough, so he got binned and didn't get let into the bar. But it was a massive convergence of things that happened for me. Obviously, I drunk all afternoon watching the Super Bowl.
The stress.
And then also my bet hit. I put it on a 6-legged cockroach that I outlined yesterday. If anyone followed that in, congratulations to you. That netted me about $250. So all of a sudden, I'm drunk and cashed up, and so I just wandered down to the viaduct here in Auckland and made my way in there. But it was a good game from what I hear. I couldn't really see it, but 25-22. It's the second time that a game has gone to overtime in the Super Bowl. And that's important because apparently, I mean, obviously we are not NFL experts here on this podcast.
Definitely not.
But apparently neither is the coach of the 49ers, old Kyle Shanahan, because the book is if it goes to overtime, if you win the toss, you get to decide whether you're going to receive or kick off. They decided that they were going to receive first, which meant that basically they had to score a touchdown there and then. Otherwise, you kind of leave it giving Mahomes too much chance.
Because it's magic touchdown, eh?
It's golden touchdown.
Golden touchdown.
Otherwise, it's just 15 minutes. So, because they scored a field goal, then Kansas City scored a touchdown, and that was the end of the game. But yeah, the book is that he should have kicked off to the 49 to the Chiefs, and then
So they could have been the last to respond.
Yeah, that's right. But I don't think that there was anything that was going to stop Patrick Mahomes. It felt like it was written in the stars. I'm glad that the TAB wouldn't let me bet on Travis Kelce to score the last touchdown because I thought for all money that's what was going to happen.
Yep.
I thought it was going to be him, touchdown, pull the ring out of his ass crack, and propose there and then in the end zone.
Some great party content coming out also from the Kansas City Chiefs, the Kelce brothers. Loving his brother dressed as the Hangover.
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis from the
and he's wearing like some crazy kind of Minions onesie, Kansas City onesie, and then he went to the bar and he had a like wrestling mask on. And
it seems like a lot, that dude.
It's a lot coming at you.
Yeah, but I think me personally, for the storyline from that was the love tap from old Travis Kelce on his coach Andy Reid, who looks so much like a walrus. It's not funny.
He looks like Fluff. Fluff. Can you remember he used to be the caddy for Tiger Woods?
Yes, and he'd check the wind by ashing his cigarette. Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like. He looks like that. He looks like a walrus. He looks like a seal. And old Kelce went over and screamed at him. It's a great photo, and I think he handled it really well. The coach Andy Reid, like that could have been, I don't know. That could have been a full-on blow-up. I think he knew that old mate was going to be pissy with him.
I wonder if afterwards they all win. It's a joke. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That is, yeah. So they interviewed Travis Kelce about it afterwards, and he's like, "Oh, you guys saw that?" He didn't know he was on camera. He's like, "Fuck, it's the Super Bowl, mate. Everything you do is going to be on camera." And he goes, "Oh, you guys saw that? Oh, look, I'm just going to leave it between me and him. I was just telling him how much I loved him." And I think, winning is the best deodorant. So for them, that's just all going to get glossed over. But we had our worst fear on this podcast, an Achilles blowout.
Oh, God.
Happened to one of the 49ers defensive players as he was running out onto the field. He wasn't even playing.
Sniper won. See, snipers are unpredictable. You know, they had one up in the roof there in Las Vegas, and he took his shot early. As he was running out onto the field. Bang.
I'm going to take this guy out.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know that you could attribute that to the fact that they lost, but it is just terrifying, the Achilles, and that's exactly why, because you don't know when it's going to happen.
Nah.
You don't know what's going to cause it.
Nah.
It could be nothing. You could be in peak physical condition, and the sniper could still take that shot.
Yeah.
All of the stories, all of the headlines today are that the Chiefs have cemented themselves as a dynasty. Do you think that 3 titles makes a dynasty?
Is it dynasty or dynasty?
I think I go dynasty.
You go dynasty?
Are you a dynasty guy?
I don't even know what does a dynasty mean. Like the Crusaders winning 6 Super Rugby titles in a row.
That's definitely a dynasty.
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady is, and the Pats, that's a dynasty.
So it's a patch of success.
Yeah.
It's a series of successful years.
Yeah, Emperor Qin back in the
Qin?
Yeah, from 0 to sort of 1000 AD.
Isn't that Ming?
No, Qin.
The Ming dynasty?
No, that's where China came from. Was the Qin dynasty.
Okay.
And that's by far definitely a dynasty. I think they had more than 3 titles.
Quite ironic that it was the Qin dynasty, but Chinese people don't really have very big chins.
No. What's that all about?
I don't know.
Do your own research on that one. But dynasty, I don't know. For me, 3 is probably not it. I think you kind of have to dominate for like a decade.
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls for sure. They own the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. So you own a period. So maybe you own a period, a decade. Yeah, you own it. You're dominant.
So the 2020s then I guess would be theirs, although I think their first one was in like 2019. But so how much longer? Do they have to make, 2 more Super Bowls over the next sort of 3 or 4 years?
Yeah. Well, if they keep Patrick Mahomes, is Kelce sticking around? Is he going to retire?
I don't know.
Because he wouldn't want to spend all his time with Taylor Swift, would he? Not all his time.
I mean, I wouldn't. It would be interesting to see. But also, she makes so much money, like ungodly amounts of money. I don't know, do you need to keep getting your brain rattled for a job if you're with her?
Yeah, you're right. He's definitely got his cock in the till.
What is the over-under on how long that relationship lasts now? So, obviously, it's at its peak right now. They just won the Super Bowl. She was on the TV everywhere, blah, blah, blah.
So was he.
How long? I reckon 3 months I'd set the over-under at. I reckon they're broken up within 3 months.
Nah, overs. I reckon. Because he's on tour. She comes to Aussie. She's on a world tour.
Yes.
So they won't have time to break up because he'll be partying for the next month.
Oh, that's a good point.
He'll be deciding about where he's going to play next year. He probably will play next year, I reckon, because he needs to keep his
well, he's at this peak.
Star.
Yeah.
Because there was talk he was going to retire.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
His brother did retire.
Yeah. That's because he definitely just wants to party.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going overs. I'm going overs under a year.
A year?
Yeah, I reckon, because I reckon give it a year. They'll flame out after a year, but I think you've been a bit cynical around 2 months. 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
I just think that's the Goldilocks period.
It's in the cynic in you.
Yeah, I know. Kanye West has really dropped the ball by releasing his album on Super Bowl day. Like, no one really gave a shit. They're like, who? Oh, sorry.
Hey, and funnily enough, Ushers' album's out.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Were you a fan of the halftime show?
I was actually. It was really good.
Yeah, so was
I thought it was great.
Usher's right in my wheelhouse too, because I was, a teenager when Usher was going on his run.
I did look at you and you were going, ugh.
Yeah.
You were like groaning and moaning and nodding your head. I saw Usher live in LA when I was 25.
Oh, what?
At the Ryan Seacrest show. I got flown over there by Sony. And they said, come along to the Ryan Seacrest show. And I came along and that one came out and he performed it live. Yeah. He performed it live to about 100 people.
Wow.
And it was only just getting quite big then. And it was all up. He was miming the whole thing, but it was still pretty impressive.
That is probably the second coolest gig you've ever been to, behind Fergie twerking to a room of about 15 people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That one's imprinted in my head. All right, I think we can probably park the Super Bowl for now until it rears its head again next year.
Yes.
But I feel like there was a massive groundswell. I feel like there's a lot of people getting into the NFL this year.
Yeah, there were viewing parties all over Auckland.
Yeah.
We had the biggest one, sadly the shittest one. We had 260 people odd. Next year I think we go big, and I think we probably build our own tent, build our own screens, and go nuts and just really take it off the hands of people who don't really know how to do sport.
Yeah. For anyone that wasn't there, the screens weren't working, was the issue.
And not enough screens.
And there weren't enough of them, and the ones that were there weren't working.
And so potentially the worst ever Super Bowl experience of all time. But we've moved on. I've moved on.
Yeah.
I've moved on. I had a confrontation on the beach last night over a dog leaving. And I actually took it out on this poor lady after yesterday. That's all right. She deserved it.
Yeah. We all dealt with it in our own ways.
Yes. You, Danny Doolins, me, taking it out on an elderly lady on the beach.
I went and cut a rug at the viaduct on a Monday night. You had a Barney with an old lady. Look, we all work in our own ways. We grieve differently.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the Super Bowl then.
Yes.
The crystal ball has come out again. I'm predicting a press conference around 12 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm predicting Tom Abercrombie is going to announce his retirement at the end of this season.
You can shove that crystal ball right up your behind because it was on the One News last night that he announced he was retiring.
Oh, am I a day late on this one?
yeah, you are. But they But they're still not confirming it, but they announced it on the news.
This is what I was getting at. It's so bizarre the way that it's like they put out. So obviously what's happening is a press release is going out saying, hey, tomorrow he's going to announce it. But then, and they say, oh, please don't put anything out until he makes his announcement. Yeah. But you don't want to be the last person, if you're One News, you don't want to be the last person to the punch on that one.
Yeah.
So they just announce, oh, he's going to announce it tomorrow that he's going to retire. It's one of the more bizarre things that's happening in sports media at the moment, and media in general. Having said all of that, I don't think that anyone's meant more to the Breakers than Tom Abercrombie. When I think of the Breakers, I probably think of Dylan Boucher first.
Do you?
Yeah. But then Tom Abercrombie. But I think that's just an age thing. Like, I don't know, when I was a kid, and also the fact that I had a night on the piss with him and Timaru.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Back in the day. So that's burned into my memory. And, he was there or thereabouts when they were winning all their championships. But so was Tom Abercrombie.
Yeah, so give me some stats.
Oh, some stats. You want some stats?
Yeah, give me some stats. Give me some ones that'll blow me away.
16 years at the Breakers.
Jesus.
16 years doing anything is ridiculous. 16 years. He was the finals MVP in 2011. And he was instrumental in their run last year to the finals.
Yeah.
He played a game where he was by far the best player on the court, and I think he didn't score a point.
Yeah.
But this was just last year at 35 years old. 4 championships, over 400 top flight games. He holds the Breakers records for most appearances, most points, most field goals made, most 3-pointers, most free throws, most blocks, and most steals.
What? So he's just missing in assists?
Yeah, just assists.
Yeah.
Because basically if the ball gets to Tom Abercrombie, it's so that he can score the ball. So he'll go down as one of the greats of basketball in this country for sure.
Yeah.
There's no way that his jersey doesn't hang in the rafters. He's up there with your Dylan Bouchers, your Pero Camerons, the whole thing. I remember, just as a complete tangent, interviewing Pero Cameron one day, and he was talking about when they played Dirk Nowitzki in the 2004 FIBA World Champs, I think. And he walked into the stadium in Tokyo. He'd never been in a stadium so big, and it had this huge roof on it. He's like, do you reckon I could kick a basketball and hit the ceiling? And so Pero Cameron just stood at half court punting basketballs at the ceiling of this giant stadium, which is one of the funniest visuals.
Other NBA players goes, what the fuck is that guy doing?
Then went on to become player of the tournament at about 6'5" and 300 kilos. But yeah, I just have this vision of him and Jandals and the equipment manager just watching as he fucks ball after ball after ball that they can no longer use. But that was a complete aside. Tom Abercrombie, he's one of the greats of the game, and it's going to be sad seeing him go. He basically is the Breakers, so I don't really know who the Breakers are now.
Yeah.
Who's the person that we...
Yeah, I don't know. Who are we getting behind?
Isaiah Le'afa, Will McDowell-White, but he's an Australian, so you can't really do that.
It's true, actually. I can't name any other Breakers.
Zylan Cheatham, Parker Jackson Cartwright. You can't get behind the imports. You don't really.
They come and go. It's a cheap one-night stand.
I have heard stories of the imports having a flight the next day after the final. Like, win or lose, they're off to Turkey to play in the next tournament that they're in. Let's move on to some rugby union. There is a loophole that is being shut by Super Rugby this year to stop what we saw in the Bath-Gloucester game earlier this year. Remember the video, actually last year, of the 12 consecutive kicks back and forth?
Yeah.
And basically... Super Rugby is going to try and close that loophole. And the loophole was, if a player catches the ball and then either runs 5 metres or passes it to another player, it makes everyone onside. The kicker doesn't have to run everyone onside. So that's why players were just milling about in the middle of the field, because they're like, we don't have to get back onside because you're going to run it or pass it. And at that point, we're back onside anyway, so fuck it. So they have shut that loophole. You're no longer allowed to do that in Super Rugby this year. So the only way that you can be onside, if your player kicks it, is the kicker has to run in front of you to put you back onside again.
That's what it used to be.
That's always what it has been, but it's the receiver being passing it or running 5 metres to put everyone onside. That's getting binned. I don't know why that was ever part of the game.
Yeah, because
it's so squirrely in the NRL as well. You're like, there's no way those guys were onside.
Yeah,
none of them were behind the kicker when he kicked it. He was standing behind all of them.
I like that rule. I like that rule because it gives the kicker some responsibility. You kick it, you have to chase it.
Yes.
Because what usually happen is Bodie would hoof it and then sit back in the pocket, wait for the next kick. Hoof it, sit back in the pocket, wait for the next kick.
And also you couldn't... It limited counterattacks because if you want to run it back at them, all of a sudden the entire forward pack's standing in the middle of the field. And if you start running at them, they're now onside. So now all of those dudes could be offside. So if you start running at them, they have to get back onside before they can make a play at you. So it's really going to shut that down. It's going to bring back sort of running, attacking fullbacks. Because at the moment, first five and fullbacks so interchangeable. It never used to be like that back in the day.
Nah, they were two very specialist positions, weren't they? But now they're pretty much the same.
That's right. Christian Cullen would never have played first five.
Yeah.
Because he was an attacking, running, broken play kind of player, and it's going to bring those kind of guys back into the game. So I'm very excited to see that. We're just watching, by the way, recording this at 10:15. We're just watching the Black Caps have a little bit of a warm-up.
Punisher O'Rourke, just breaking news, Punisher O'Rourke will make his debut
congratulations.
today in Hamilton. And other news, just got a sneak peek at the pitch.
Yeah.
It is green. It is green. So if you win the toss, bowl, and get on the tab now. Well, this will be too late by the time this goes out. But get on the
not too late for me.
Get on some of the first innings. We've stuck a hundy on there being a duck in the first session because this pitch is green as you like.
There's another power play on there for 100 runs to be scored in the first session. You don't think that's going to happen?
Nah, not on this pitch. It is, I reckon there'll be plenty of wickets in the first session. That's my prediction.
Would you say that 2 players would be caught out by the wicketkeeper?
Yes.
In this session?
Yep, I would.
In the first session?
Yep, I'd say you'll get some snicks early. It's unlike the Mount Maunganui pitch. It's got plenty of grass on it.
Well,
and Punisher O'Rourke, congratulations to Punisher O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Punishingly good looking, not because he's a Punisher.
He's actually a great guy, by all accounts. Wonderful man. Afternoon footy lane, this is something that you have been campaigning for the longest time, and it looks like it's set to return to Sydney when the All Blacks play against the Wallabies in September 21st, which seems so far away. That is Earth, Wind and Fire night.
Yeah.
21st? No, it is September. Rugby Australia. Rugby Australia is considering scheduling an afternoon Bledisloe Cup clash in Sydney for the first time in almost 3 decades in an effort to attract families, and also because the NRL's on that night.
I love that. We want to attract families, and we can't get the stadium.
And also everyone's going to be watching this other game.
So I have to fly to Sydney with my family to get an afternoon game?
Yeah, and then also the other part of that is because they're 2 hours behind us, that's actually still a night game for us here in New Zealand. But it is good that there's finally going to be some afternoon footy, which is something you have been calling for the longest time. It's been good what they've been doing with the cricket, the Friday night party game, and then the Sunday night family game. So it'd be good to see a bit more of that going on. And a couple more bits to get through here. The National Rugby League has finally had a scandal.
Yes.
It's been a pretty tame off-season.
It has.
Yeah.
It has. I'm disappointed.
There hasn't been a lot. Brisbane Broncos stars Adam Reynolds and Patrick Carrigan have been captured on camera in a fight just 3 weeks before their opening match. A video of the two grabbing each other aggressively has circulated across social media, and the NRL Integrity Unit have been made aware of the situation. I love the Integrity Unit. It's such a funny name.
Same.
So the video, it's a very short video, and it's basically just a bit of pushing and shoving between Pat Carrigan and Adam Reynolds, who are the captain and vice captain of the Broncos.
And I haven't seen the video, but are they in a public? Are they at training? Are they?
They're in public. They're in public. They are at what looks to be like a park, not a car park, but like a park on grass outside. There's a bunch of people around, and they are just pushing and shoving each other. It did look pretty heated, and people are yelling at them to stop. So it was obviously brewing for a while.
Who's videoing that?
Yeah, I know.
And who cares? Everyone's had a barney with their mate or their teammate, and
yeah.
Anyway,
selfishly, though, they were the ones that knocked us out of the playoffs last year.
I'll ban them.
They would probably. They might be favourites to win this year. It's either them or the Panthers.
Throw the book at them. Throw the book. Get the NRL disgrace unit. I'm renaming them the disgrace unit because it's only disgraceful behaviour that gets investigated by them.
Yeah, that's all they're in charge of. Yeah, get them in there. Get both of those guys banned for at least the first half of the season.
Correct.
And then make sure that they can't make the top 8.
That kind of behaviour in public should not be tolerated.
Well, there's no place for it in the game. These guys are idols. They're heroes to kids.
Absolutely. Heroes of the young.
You know, and these guys are going over to play over in Las Vegas soon. Is that the advertisement for the game and the country of Australia that we need?
Throw the disgrace book at them.
Yeah. Ban them. Again, I think half a season's about par, and by that stage we will be top of the table and we'll win the NRL anyway.
Yes, right.
Two more sad news from the NRL. Have you seen the story about Keith Titmuss? So he was a Manly Sea Eagles player. 3 years ago, they had a pre-season, and they had a particularly grueling, I think it was like a wrestling session.
Yeah.
And he had a seizure and tragically passed away in pre-season.
Ooh.
I feel like this story hadn't really been covered.
Oh, it's the first I've heard of it.
Yes, I know. I heard it at the time, but it was just like, I don't know. I guess they did a good job of sweeping it under the rug. Well, the inquest is going on at the moment. So Des Hasler, the Manly Seagulls coach, is in front of. It's not really a court. I don't really understand exactly what it is. Like, no one's going to jail for this. Is it a
coroner's investigation?
Yeah, it's an investigation because the I don't know, whatever they do with.
Is it a medical event or something? Is that?
It was a medical event.
Yeah, right.
So it was a seizure that killed him, and they're basically saying, could something have been done to stop this? Was the training too grueling? Were there warning signs that were ignored? That kind of thing. But it's just like a very, very sad story to come out of the NRL, and I just thought it was interesting. Like you said, this is the first you're hearing of it. Yeah. You listening to this, if you don't follow the NRL very closely, this is probably the first you're hearing of it as well. They do a good job of sweeping that one under the...
Yeah, it's kind of the... What is it called? The investigation unit we were going to start up?
Oh, whitewash investigations.
Yeah, they've obviously been involved in that.
Yeah, a little bit of whitewash investigations. My hangover is clearly kicking in because these last two stories are very morbid. Kenya's marathon world record holder, Calvin Kiptum, and his coach were killed in a traffic accident in the Rift Valley. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. This is the guy who set the world record last year in Chicago in October with a time of 2 hours and 35 seconds, which beat old Kipchoge's record of 2 hours and 1 minute. Kipchoge did the one where he ran under 2 hours, but that wasn't...
It was assisted.
It was assisted, yeah.
He had a pace. It was awesome to watch.
It was.
I'm not taking away from this. This is pretty tragic.
Yeah.
The Rift Valley on Sunday, I can imagine the roads in Kenya wouldn't be the greatest either.
Nah, so apparently there's two main training towns that they get about in, and they were driving from one of them to the other, and just got into a car crash. But it's just one of the wildest stories, just that one of, the greatest runners in the world. I mean, you could argue the greatest runner in the world.
Yeah, is dead.
Gone. Was it an inside job?
Kipchoge. No, going back to Kipchoge, that one he ran under 2 hours in I don't know where it was. Was it somewhere in Europe?
I think it was in the UK.
Yeah, and that was amazing. They had a vehicle in front of him, which was the pace setter, and then they had a laser out the back that had the line that he had to be in front of to get under 2 hours.
And he basically just had to stay in between the lasers.
Yeah, and he said to stay in between the lasers, and they had 3 or 4 groups of pacemakers with him. So, he had people in front of him or behind him, so a bit of windbreak. And he was wearing those springy shoes that have been banned now, that have got extra bounce in them, apparently.
Why ban them?
I know, they're shoes.
Give them to everyone.
Yeah, they're not drugs.
Nah.
Like, if you can run in those full comedy spring shoes, then go for it. If you can run 40 kilometres in springies, then go for it.
Fine. Chuck the blades on. Yeah. Well, actually, while we're on that, the story came out last week that Peter Thiel, who is an American entrepreneur, billionaire, he lives here in New Zealand.
He does. He's a strange unit.
Very strange unit. He is going to run the steroid Olympics. He's finally bringing to life the age-old pub yarn of, why don't we just give them all steroids and see how fast everyone can go? And that is exactly what he's going to do. You would have seen people talking about it last week. I have talked to, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Tom Walsh, who, it might not have been. I don't want to put a name to this because it might not have been him.
Too late.
But someone we had on a show a while ago, and they were saying, well, we said, why not just give everyone steroids and see how fast? And this person said, you're assuming that that's not what the Olympics are right now.
Right.
That there's so many drugs in the Olympics and competition in general that, like, we are watching what LeBron James at 40 years old, like, that is what you can do with, allegedly, with steroids.
Good nutrients and supplements, okay?
It would be very interesting to see how this plays out, because what happens because you're not going to get Usain Bolt, you're not going to get whoever, No,
you're not going to get people who are currently top of their game.
So you're going to get retired athletes like old Magnuson, the missile, the Australian swimmer. He said that for $1 million he'd do it. He'd just get juice to the gills.
Yeah.
And he also said you're not going to get people at the top peak of their powers right now, but you might get like a retired athlete. Why couldn't this be an avenue for players at the end of their careers to be like, okay, I've had my career, it was all legit. I am now going to juice to the fucking gills and just see how fast a human body can travel through water. I just am worried that what happens if they're slower than what the actual record is right now.
I love how you're worried about that. I'm more worried about their hearts exploding live on TV.
Oh, no, I don't care about that.
It's like 100 metres. Just people dropping from their hearts just going...
or like bone snapping because their muscles are far stronger than they ever have any reason to be. So yeah, I don't know when he's going to do it, but I'm very excited to see it. And also, can we have it in New Zealand? You live here, you know, we've let you in. Bring a bit of money into the country.
We have. If you want to do a bit of research on him, he's the one who shut down Gawker via the
Gawker?
The Gawker was this kind of news outlet that he didn't like because he's quite right wing Trump supporter.
Oh, yeah.
But he got it. He basically bankrolled the Hulk Hogan nude. Remember when he had to go on and he had to give his penis size in court and stuff?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
The whole Hulk Hogan dick pic scandal? He bankrolled Hulk Hogan because it was against Gawker and basically took Gawker to the cleaners and bankrupted them.
Wow.
And Gawker never... There's a great documentary on it. Search it, PET or Gawker. I'm forgotten what it's called.
Yeah.
But it's all about the Hulk Hogan trial. It's a fucking wild ride. It's like so wild.
Yeah.
Because he got caught in a sex tape or something and he tried to deny it and he said, you know, Hulk Hogan ain't got a dick that size. Like it's crazy. He had to show
the court his dick.
Yeah.
To get off the charges. All right, well, Peter Thiel, bloody build us a stadium.
Yeah. And do it here.
And put the fucking drug Olympics there. All right, we need to go and prepare for the cricket, which is taking off in about half an hour at the time of recording this. Enjoy watching that. Join us from 11 o'clock today through the rest of the week. It is scheduled to go till Saturday. I would say that Friday will be the last day.
I hope so, because I've made plans.
Huge omen. All right, we will see you tomorrow, and we will recap the first day of the test against the Breakers. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.